Hey English learners, welcome back to the English Flow Channel podcast. We're really happy to have you here today. Whether you're listening while cooking, walking, or studying, thank you for spending this moment with us.
Yes, and remember, the best way to learn English is consistency. Even listening for 20 minutes every day can make a huge difference. So if you're here with us now, you're already making progress.
Absolutely. And if you enjoy this episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us where you're listening from. It really helps our channel grow and it motivates us to keep creating free content for you.
So Anna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I actually had a peaceful weekend. I stayed home, cleaned a little, cooked some pasta, and spent time journaling. I also spent a lot of time in silence, just thinking.
That sounds amazing. My weekend was the opposite. I went to a family gathering and there were so many people talking at the same time. I enjoyed it, but I didn't really have quiet moments for myself. By the end, I felt mentally tired.
I know that feeling. Sometimes being socially active is great, but silence helps us recharge. And that connects perfectly with today's topic, the power of silence and focusing on yourself.
Yes, silence can actually change your life in surprising ways. And I don't mean just being quiet, I mean choosing carefully when to speak, when to explain, when to react, and when to simply observe.
Exactly. Many people think silence means weakness or insecurity, but often silence is strength, confidence, and clarity.
Let's start with something simple. We often think people are watching us all the time.
Right? We behave like there's an audience evaluating our every move. We ask ourselves, what will they think if I fail? What will they say if I change? But in reality, most people are focused on themselves.
I had an experience like that at the gym. I thought everyone was watching me, maybe judging the way I used a machine. But when I looked around, I realized everyone was just listening to music or focusing on their own workout.
That happens a lot. We live like we are on a stage, but the stage is only in our mind. And silence helps remove that imaginary spotlight.
When you stop explaining and stop performing for others, you stop living for approval and start living for yourself.
Yes, silence doesn't make you invisible, it makes you free, and it gives you space to hear your own voice again.
That's powerful. But silence can feel uncomfortable too. Sometimes when I stay quiet, I feel pressure to say something just to fill the moment.
That's very common. People often fear silence because they think it will make them seem boring or uninterested. But real confidence is not needing to talk all the time.
And when someone speaks less, their words usually have more impact. You listen because you know they only speak when necessary.
Right? The goal is not to isolate yourself or stop communicating. It's to communicate with intention.
Let's talk about how silence helps us understand others. When you speak less, you observe more.
Yes, you notice how people treat you when you're not giving them attention or explanations. You see who respects your time and who only comes when they need something.
Exactly. Some people drain your energy. They talk endlessly about their problems but never listen to yours. After talking to them, you feel exhausted.
And silence is a way to protect your energy. You don't need to justify every decision or explain why you're not available. Sometimes a short answer like, "I can't today," is enough.
I used to give long explanations. I can't because I have to finish work and I have a meeting tomorrow and I'm tired. Now I simply say, "I'm not available tonight," and it's enough.
That's personal growth. Silence builds boundaries without aggression.
You said something important earlier. Silence helps us hear ourselves. When everything is noisy, social media, notifications, conversations, it becomes hard to know what we truly want.
Exactly. When I spend time in silence, ideas appear more clearly. I understand what my goals are and what I need to change.
Speaking of goals, I notice that when I talk too much about my plans, I lose motivation to achieve them.
That's a real phenomenon. When you talk about your goals, your brain feels like you already accomplished something, and you lose the drive to actually do it.
That's why silence helps. When your goals are private, they grow without pressure, without judgment.
Yes. Instead of announcing plans, you let results speak for you.
Talk less, move more.
Here's another interesting point. When you change, people don't always like it. They say, "You've changed," like it's something negative.
But change is necessary for growth. We are not supposed to be the same person forever.
Right. Sometimes people want the older version of you, the one who was always available, always explaining, always saying yes.
Silence protects the new version of you, the version that respects personal boundaries.
And it helps you realize that you don't owe anyone your past self.
I love that, but I have a question. How do you stay silent without seeming cold?
It's about intention. Silence doesn't mean ignoring people. It means speaking in a calm way, with fewer words but more clarity. You can say things like, "I need time to think," or "I prefer to answer later." Silence is not closing the door, it's opening space for healthier communication.
That makes sense. Silence is not passive, it's intentional.
Yes, and silence also helps with emotional control. When we react instantly, we often speak from anger, fear, or ego. Silence gives us time to respond instead of react.
I used to argue immediately when I felt attacked. Now I pause before responding. Sometimes after a few minutes of silence, I realize there's nothing to argue about.
Exactly. Silence reduces conflict because drama only survives when you feed it with reactions.
So if you don't react, the drama cannot grow.
Yes, silence is like turning off the oxygen in a fire.
That's a strong image. And it's true, I've seen arguments disappear because I simply chose not to respond emotionally.
Silence is a form of emotional intelligence. It shows maturity.
And it also shows confidence. People who are confident don't need to constantly explain themselves.
True peace doesn't need words. You can see peace in how someone walks, how they breathe, how they treat others.
There's a calm energy you feel from people who are not trying to prove anything.
And silence creates that energy.
You know what? I think silence also improves learning. When I listen more than I speak, I learn faster. Especially with languages.
Yes, language learners sometimes feel pressure to speak all the time, but listening is just as important. When you stay quiet, you observe expressions, pronunciation, and natural patterns.
So silence isn't just emotional, it's practical and educational.
Exactly. Silence creates space to absorb information instead of filling the space with mistakes or stress.
I like that. So silence helps us grow emotionally, socially, and intellectually.
And spiritually, too, for many people. Silence allows connection with something deeper, your values, your purpose, your intuition.
That's true. Some of my most important decisions came from quiet moments.
Same here. Silence shows you what you truly want when the world stops telling you what you should want.
And for everyone listening right now, maybe silence is something you can practice today. Not as a rule, but as a tool.
Yes, try small moments of silence, walking without music, sitting without checking your phone, waiting before responding to a message. These tiny moments create clarity.
And if you enjoy this kind of conversation, make sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who is also learning English. Maybe they need a little silence in their life too.
All right, before we end, let's summarize what silence gives us: freedom from the imaginary spotlight, protection of energy, stronger boundaries, less drama, clearer goals, deeper learning, and emotional control.
And most of all, peace.
Peace doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes peace speaks quietly in the background.
Thank you for listening today. We hope you feel calmer, more focused, and inspired to bring silence into your daily life.
Stay strong, stay grounded, and keep learning.
Until next time, take care and keep growing.